Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Brenda Campbell. I'm an artist and a certified Zentangle teacher. Today is Mindful Monday, and it doesn't matter what day of the week it really is when you're watching. But on Mondays, I post a video of me drawing a Zentangle tile. It is a Zentangle practice tile, and we go through the 8 steps of the Zentangle method of drawing, which is a meditative drawing art form. We are simply going to draw patterns. We're going to make it super easy, and we might as well go ahead and just jump right in. The first step in the Zentangle method is gratitude and appreciation. In this step, I'm going to guide you through a short breathing exercise that will get us settled into this moment and get us prepared for drawing our patterns. So go ahead and get comfortable, sitting up straight if you're sitting, and we are going to start by taking a few deep breaths, breathing in deeply and out fully. And again. And as you breathe in, get tall and alert, and release it all with an exhale, and just kind of drop your shoulders and just relax. One final intentional big breath in and out. Now just let your breath fall into a natural breathing rhythm, and try to clear your mind of all thoughts. Focus on your breath. Follow it, don't direct it. Breathing in and breathing out. Now I want you to take a moment and think about something that makes you smile. If it makes you smile, it's something to be grateful for. And as you find that thing that you're smiling about, I want you to hold on to that thought. And I want you to really focus on how does that feel. You're smiling, it should feel good. That is gratitude. And remember this feeling. And as we go through our tile today, if you reach a point where you just need to break, you're not sure where you're going, maybe your lines are a little wonky, stop yourself, take a deep breath in, release it. Remember that feeling that made you smile, that gratitude. And once you found that, then you're ready to begin again. And let's just take one more deep breath in and out. That is all there is to step 1. So I'll be drawing today on a 3.5 inch Zentangle tile. It's just a square tile. If you don't have a Zentangle tile, do not fear. You can follow along and draw with me using a small piece of paper or even a regular size piece of paper, and just kind of draw a small square on it. Don't even concern yourself with perfection. Just make a space for you to put some patterns. So I'm going to use a pencil, and you can use any pencil. Put a dot in each corner of our tile. This is step 2 of the Zentangle method. Then we're going to connect those dots to create a border. That is step 3. Step 4 is our string, and the string simply separates the space inside of our border to allow us spaces in which we draw our patterns. It's been a while since I've done a spiral string, and it's one of my favorites. So we're going to go ahead and start with that today. And I usually start my spirals from the center, but today I want it to fill this space. So I am going to draw it from the outside in. And then I'm going to come back around. And so I really have 2 spirals because I stopped and then I did another kind of an aura, but it's not very good. And that is my string. It's a little wonky, but I don't mind. I kind of like wonky sometimes. Now, one of the patterns we're going to draw is doodah. Now, doodah was one of the first patterns that I did a video on because I remember when it was released and I was just in love with this pattern. And the reason I like it is because it is simply straight lines. And when you draw a line repetitively, it is very zen, very relaxing. And so I've got my pattern doodah that I'm going to draw, and it is simply made up of straight lines. So let's go ahead and start with that. Now I'm just going to pick one of these 2 spaces, and I'm going to start drawing my doodah in that space. And I think I'm going to use this one that's a little bit thinner. Doodah begins with a line. Now I'm taking some liberty here with my pencil line because it didn't come out great. And I'm just going to draw right over my pencil line where I can. And I'm making an outline for my pattern. Okay, that's my first line. Now it comes to a point here, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it a point and then draw my second line. And this line is going to aura the first one that I did. So as I draw it, I want to make sure that the line I'm auraing is above so I can see. And you notice I'm not paying attention to my string pencil line because I didn't draw it really well. And instead, I'm just trying to draw an aura here. Okay, so I have, now this is going to go off the page. That's totally fine. I've got my first aura line for my pattern. And I'm going to have to go ahead and aura each one of these lines one more time. Now, the spaces outside are a little bigger, so I'm going to aura it on the outside. So I'll start here, and I'm going to make a relatively small aura space because I want to use as much of the space as I can for my pattern, for the rest of my pattern. And for my next pattern that I'm going to draw, and I'm turning my tile as I go so I keep that line that I'm auraing above, because I'm right-handed and I want to be able to see it. And because it came to a point, I went ahead and brought that aura to a point there as well. Now I'm going to come around and aura this second line. This may be the hardest part of this tile today. It's getting started. Okay, so there is my space to put my doodah tangle. So now that I've got my outside aura line borders, I'm going to pick a spot, and any spot, like I said, will do. And I'm going to start at the top line and come down, but stop before I get to the bottom. Now I'm drawing inside between these two. And then the next line I draw is going to aura it, but it's going to start a little below the top line, going all the way to the bottom. And then I'm just going to repeat that as I go around. Now, one of the things about drawing this pattern into a rounded shape is that I really want to make sure I'm turning my tile as I draw them so that they're coming in kind of straight from where the band is. I'm not being terribly consistent about how far apart I'm spacing them, but I'm trying to keep it close anyway. But remember, there are no mistakes. We are just drawing patterns to help us settle into this moment right now. Now I have to imagine that this is coming in from the side. Okay, and now I'm perfectly positioned to go on the other half. So back to where we started, going in the other direction now. And you see, I turn my tile after almost every line that I draw. And the tighter the curve, the more important it is to turn your tile so that these lines come in from the right direction. This is such a super simple pattern or tangle, and yet it really is fun to draw. And I like it on a tile. I think it always adds a little something. Okay, there is my doodah in the center of the spiral. Now, the next pattern we're going to draw is quipple. Now, the reason I chose this pattern is because it is total contrast to doodah. This is all circles, and this is all straight lines. And I'm often talking about contrast when I'm drawing, because that is what I think makes your artwork just more interesting. So we're always looking for contrast, and remember, it comes in lots of forms. It can come in a line form, like we're using our two tangles, straight lines and curvy lines. It can come in busy patterns and simple open patterns. It can come in dark and light. There's all different ways to find and create contrast. So we are going to draw quipple next. And I'm going to start in the center, because quipple is just like a big row of big pearls or orbs. And I'm just going to make it like a chain of pearls to start, and I'm trying to place them in the center of my spiral shape here. And I'm altering the size of my orbs to fit the space that we're going in. So the thinner my spiral shape gets, the smaller my orbs become. But then as we get larger here, the orbs will grow as well. This is a pretty skinny section here. So my orbs are getting really small. And you notice I'm leaving space on either side because that's how Quipple works. And we're going to add smaller orbs around our larger ones. Getting really thin again. So smaller orbs. And I'm kind of ignoring my pencil lines again because I really want to make sure there's space around each one of these orbs. And it's easier at this point. Now that I've got my doodah drawn, it's a lot easier to follow that spiral shape without the pencil lines. Okay, so I have my first row of orbs, my big center row, if you will. And then all we need to do now is fill in all the rest of the spaces with some more orbs. And these orbs will change sizes. I'm trying to, right now I don't have a lot of room, so we're just getting one little row. But as the space grows, then I can make my orbs a little bigger. And again, turning my tile as I go around. Really tight spaces in here. That's okay. I like it now that there's more space. It's a little easier to fill in the space around the big orbs with the little ones. So I've got some more space here in the corner, so I'm going to take advantage of it and add some smaller orbs to kind of fill out our pattern there. These are some really tiny spaces. I don't do well drawing small, but that's okay. I'll get it. Remember, there are no mistakes and there's no right or wrong way to draw these patterns. If you find a better way that works for you, then by all means take advantage. Do it the way that makes you happy. I'm going to come back to this corner, but I thought I'd fill these in first. Okay, I'll come back here now. Okay, that works. Now, a lot of these orbs are going to disappear when we start doing our shading, which comes in step 6 next. But I'm going to go ahead and fill it in. I'm just not going to worry myself about it too much. Because like I said, the graphite will help hide all of the imperfections. That's why there are no mistakes. Or one of the reasons there are no mistakes, because we can make it work. Okay, now come on this side. I'm trying to make sure that these orbs on the outside are a little bit smaller, so our initial row will stand out better because it'll be bigger. And here's the corner with more room. So I'm going to make a few that are going to be a little bigger. And then they'll get smaller as we go out. There. I'll make this a little rounder, I guess. Maybe I'll add a few here. And maybe just a few more little ones over here. Just kind of making my spiral a little bigger. Okay. I think we're good with step 5. That is the patterns. And you can see the contrast really clearly between the doodah and its straight lines and the quipple and its orbs. So now we're going to move on to step 6. We just finished step 5, which is drawing the patterns. Now we're going to shade the patterns. Now, one thing I want to do here, I'm going to start with doodah, and I'm going to put a small light line of graphite inside our aura lines, right close to line. Now, some of this is pretty narrow, so I really don't want too much graphite because it would make everything dark. And I don't want everything to be dark. I'm going to start by blending this out because, like I said, I don't want it to get too dark. So this may inform what I do on the other side. I might even be able to shade it without adding more graphite. So I'm just taking the graphite I have left. On my tortillon, and that seems to be working pretty good. So we'll have this heavier line of graphite on one side and a little lighter line on the other side, but that still gives us some lighter space between the two ore lines. And it kind of gives you the illusion that it is a little rounded. It has a little bit of dimension. Okay, I think we're done with shading our doodah. That's all there is to shading that. Next, we're going to shade our quipple. And I want to start by just putting some graphite next to the line, the aura line, the border outside, if you will, of our doodah. So that doodah stands up apart, if you will. And I think I'm going to do the same thing, which is just put graphite on one side and then try to spread it to the other side as I'm blending it. Now, I am kind of doing this a little heavier, but that's kind of because I want this to stand out, this pattern. I want the doodah to stand apart from the quipple, and shading will help me do that. And it's going to give me a little bit more contrast too. You notice there's no solid black to give me some drama, so I'm going to try to use my shading for that purpose. Because I'm laying down this graphite pretty heavy here, I shouldn't need any more graphite to complete it, because I should be able to just use this and spread it to where I need it to go. Okay, here's my tortillon. Let's get started. Small circular motions, pulling it away from the edge. I'm trying to keep it as best I can away from the orbs. I'm using the excess graphite that I got from shading over here to add another line over here. Yeah, I kind of like all of this heavy graphite on the edge. It really is helping to add that drama that I am missing without anything that's solid black. And now I'm just doing this edge over here, the opposite. And I'm just picking up graphite from what I just shaded wherever I need to add a little bit more. Okay, I believe I'm done with that. But there's one more thing I want to do for my quibble. And that is to shade the big orbs so they look dimensional, so they look like round little orb spheres, if you will. But I do have a lot of black graphite left on my tortillon, so I am just going to use that to kind of put a little shadow put a little smile shape of graphite in one of the corners. I'm choosing the bottom right, and I'm only going to do this really in the big ones, or if they look really, really white. Some of these smaller ones, it's just going to be like a little dark smudge instead of a smile. Okay, I think that's pretty good for shading. So we're done with step 6, the shading. We drew our tangles, step 5, we shaded our tangles, step 6, and now we're moving on to step 7, which is to put your chop on, your initial and your signature. I think I'm going to put my chop up here, and I like this particular orientation, so I think we'll go ahead and make this work. And that's all there is to my chop, my initials. I'm going to flip it over and sign it. and I will date it off camera. We used 2 tangles today. We used Duda, and we used Quibble. And that's it. This is Mindful Monday 43. I hope that you enjoy drawing along with me. I think it's fun. So that was step 7, initial and sign. Make my little curly cues a little more curly. Step 8 is simply to sit back, admire what you've done, and appreciate what you've done. Appreciate the time you took for yourself. Appreciate your ability to get a little bit of calm into your day, maybe into your week. I do hope you drew along, and I hope that if you enjoyed it, you'll give me a like, maybe subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I certainly appreciate every single one of you who are here with me today. That's it for now, and as always, be you and be happy.